You are listening to Smart Women's Dating Podcast, episode number 32. Welcome to Smart Women's Dating Podcast. I am your host, certified life coach Lærke Nielsen, and I help smart, independent women attract the love they deeply desire without having to chase or settle. This podcast will give you the mindset tools and insights you need to finally crack the code to your love life. Are you ready? Then let's go! Hey friends, welcome back. I've so much looked forward to record this episode because I know it's going to help a lot of you, and the content I'm going to share today is something I would have loved to know myself many years ago. So this is the last episode in a series of 3 about love and attraction, and if you haven't listened to the other 2, I recommend you start with them, or at least do yourself the favor of listening to episode 31 before you listen to this one, because that's where I share some basic concepts of attraction and what determines who we are attracted to. Now, to say it very briefly, last episode I talked about how to stop being attracted to someone you know is not good for you. And in this episode here, we're going to dive into the question of whether you can do the opposite. Can you build attraction to someone you know is a good match, but where you just don't feel any immediate attraction? There isn't really a spark. And it's just too bad because you can see this guy has great partner potential. He does all the right things and you know he would be such a loving and amazing partner. If you look at it from a coaching perspective, attraction is a feeling and it's created by a thought. And if you want to know more about the connection between thoughts and feelings, then go check out episode 28 about how to coach yourself. So the thoughts you think about him and what you choose to focus on really matters. And as I explained in episode 31, once you have identified the subconscious reasons you feel attracted to someone, they are no longer subconscious and you get to change that. Having said that, I do believe that there are people we find a lot easier to feel attracted to. And you shouldn't have to coach yourself 2 hours a day to push yourself to feel attracted to someone. Then he is likely not the right one for you. But you do have some influence on whether attraction develops or not. You can make it possible. You can optimize your chances of feeling attracted to someone if it serves you. And I want you to have an idea of how to do that. But let's just take a look at when you would want to investigate if you can develop attraction for a man. You can imagine that you have on the one side your feeling of attraction towards a man. Let's call it your attraction score. It could be from 1 to 10. And then on the other side, you have everything that we could say falls under the concept of partner potential. We're talking about reliability, consistent interest, taking initiative, and so on. And then you can imagine 4 different scenarios. One is where the attraction is high and the partner potential is high. And this is, of course, a man you want to continue dating and see how things develop. This could be someone for a long-term relationship with you. Then there is the scenario where the attraction is low and the partner potential is low as well. This is clearly not your guy. You want to let him go. Then you could have a high attraction and a low partner potential. And this could, for instance, be the emotionally unavailable man, the hot and cold guy that you feel attracted to, but you can see there is not a lot of good partner potential showing up there. This is clearly not your guy, but you want to practice recognizing why you are attracted and decide to not let that attraction take all your decisions. And then there's the scenario where the attraction is low, but the partner potential is high. And that's where you would want to be able to at least explore if there could be a basis for attraction. Can it develop down the line? So here are some factors that you are in control of and that will influence who you are attracted to. The first one is time. You want to give it time, get to know a man. There's a kind of attraction that develops over time, and this is the more sustainable kind of attraction that has consent from your rational brain, because you feel it after getting to know him better. This is using the principle of proximity. This could be the example where you realize that he has a great sense of humor, or he's very kind and generous, or something else about his personality that sparks your attraction. And I would say, if you like him, give it at least 3 dates. If you don't feel any attraction after 3 dates and you don't find him interesting as a person, then there's no reason to continue dating him. But if you still want to get to know him more because you like him as a person, then continue seeing him. Worst case is that it turns into a friendship, and if you're dating others in parallel, then you haven't wasted any time. The second factor is how you see yourself, and this might be surprising, but your self-esteem does influence who you feel attracted to. If we have a low self-esteem in a certain area, we might not feel attracted to people who we perceive as being superior to us. You maybe have experienced that with men, for instance, who are not attracted to women who are smarter than them or who make more money than them, and this is often a reflection of their own self-esteem. A masculine man with a healthy self-esteem, he doesn't worry about you making more money than him. He thinks it's pretty cool. Your thoughts about you can show up in the sense that if you don't think of yourself as a catch, you could believe that a man is too good, too handsome, or too popular, for instance, and then you don't open yourself up to feeling attracted to him. So you want to really work on building your confidence and self-worth and believing that you are an amazing and unique catch because of the person you are. Then there's also the factor of how you think of him, because again, attraction is a feeling created by a thought. So notice how you think of him. Do you shut down the minute you find one small error, or are you open to his humanness? This is very much related to how you speak to yourself too. If we often judge ourselves for every little mistake or flaw, we are also more prone to judge others. But if we are able to be kind to ourselves and not too hard on our flaws and imperfections, it's also easier to tolerate that in another person. And I'm not talking about ignoring serious shortcomings or closing your eyes for big red flags. I'm talking about the small things, like if a part of your first date or conversation felt awkward, or he made a silly comment because he was nervous, or he chose a cafe that you didn't particularly like for the first date. If we've been single for a long time and we feel that dating is difficult and we've met a lot of guys that were not even close to what we wanted, our brain gets used to very quickly judging, saying, nope, that one isn't good either. And we get into this negative mindset where we focus easily on what we don't like and ignore the things that we do like. It's not even your fault, it's just a thing that brains do if we're not paying attention to that. We also can have these thoughts about something being wrong with him if he is very interested, especially if we've been used to unavailable men. Our brain will freak out and start looking for what is wrong here. And another typical reason you don't feel attraction to a man who does all the right things and has a good partner potential could be intimacy fear. I talked about that in episode 25. This is the fear of him getting really close to you and making you feel vulnerable and then potentially rejecting you and breaking your heart. This is very normal to have when you're used to being on your own and not feeling vulnerable in that sense. So I want you to write down your thoughts about him. What do you like and what don't you like and why? It's so interesting to become conscious about what makes you like someone more or less and know your reasons for that, because then you also gain awareness of whether it's just all programming or you're actually okay thinking and feeling like you do. So, for instance, you could find that something is blocking you from feeling attracted to him, but that it's in reality not a valid reason. Like if you tell yourself that he is too good for you, or he is out of your league, or he's going to break your heart, and so on, then that's your intimacy fear blocking you from connecting with a good man. And once you become aware of that and realize that you are just as good and interesting as him, and you can take it slow with him and get to know him before you develop too much emotional attachment to him, you might feel safe to allow yourself to feel attracted to him. The final thing I want to say here is practice noticing how you feel when you're with him. Attraction can feel very different in different situations and in different times of your life, and it doesn't have to be this all-consuming sparks and chemistry and butterflies in the stomach. It can also be this kind of low-vibing, calm, but still very strong magnetic feeling where you feel consistently drawn towards him. I don't know if that makes sense, but like you just feel so good when you're around him, and it's not in an exhilarating way, but in a warm and steady way. So notice how you feel when you're together. Do you enjoy spending time with him? Do you feel you can be yourself? Do you look forward to seeing him again? Do you want to share with him whenever something happens in your life? And do you feel safe with him? Tune in to that feeling you get when you spend time with him and notice if it changes over time. Do you feel more or less drawn to him after several dates? Now, this is just you observing yourself without trying to change anything. And that is from the understanding that attraction can feel very different with different people. And when you say you feel no attraction, maybe it's just the sparks that you don't feel. Maybe you do actually feel attracted, but in a different way. And then if you still don't feel any attraction after a while, maybe it's just not going to happen with this guy and you don't want to continue because that would be like putting pressure on yourself. You can't pressure yourself into feeling attracted. Any kind of pressure will actually work against you. So in that case, you just want to let it go. There are so many other good men out there, so no need to worry about not feeling attracted to this one guy. So this is what I had for you today, and I want to encourage you to open up to seeing that attraction can come in different forms, and sometimes it just takes a little bit of time and nourishment to show up. So be patient and curious. And if you're also curious about what it would be like to work with me as your private coach and how I can help you recognize the good men and navigate the dating scene, then I want to invite you to book a free consultation call on the link in the show notes or on my website, lærkethelovecoach.com. And Lærke is spelled L-A-E-R-K-E. I would love to connect with you. Thank you so much for listening and have a wonderful week. If you like what you're hearing on this podcast and you want to get support from a coach on your love journey, I invite you to book a free consult call with me. You will find the link in the show notes. And also, don't forget to subscribe, and I would love it if you would rate and review this podcast, and then you'll also help other women find it.